I'd just like to thank all the crews that's really been working. Again, this time it just shows what everybody can do when they stick together. We've been putting out a lot of supplies and stuff and people's animal feed and stuff, and I just wanted to know if they're needing anything that we've got, like feed or hay or anything like that, they can come by the fairgrounds and get it. And I've had a couple people, Dale was talking about, on that we were going to do a resolution, see if we get that road fixed, and this right here shows that there are a need for it, when it flooded there again at the bottom of Thompson Cove. If we can do that, I appreciate that. And also, this temporary road is on, if I understand it right, I believe isn't it on private property? And they're trying to get these buses around that, and that's going across the culvert like that. Wouldn't that be a safety issue, like trying to get them buses across those culverts and stuff? I mean, I don't know how the state looks at it, but I would think if you could keep people off of private property, if it was doing damage to the property. I don't know, and it being a state road, if that's true or not, but it should be. And if anything we can do to help these guys, I wish we could.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did you have anything, Brandon? Okay. Did you have anything on that, Bryant, about the public road? I know the DOT has done a great job getting culverts and roads fixed back temporarily in a lot of cases. So my son actually lives up Ball Creek, and he's had to deal with that. But go ahead.
We last week we got approval to pick up commercial debris and private road debris. We've turned this week to asking to make sure that there's funds at the federal level for private bridges and culverts that are out, and I guess roads will be in that as well. But right now we don't have any information if that will be authorized or not.
Okay. And on the private roads, so I had always heard that they don't really address private roads, but it seems like they're giving us a lot of leeway in this event. And I did talk with someone during Fred that had a private road, and the culvert had been washed out, and he was able to, he made an application, he took pictures, he made, before and after pictures, if you will. He kept all the receipts, and he submitted it to FEMA, and he was reimbursed for everything that he had out. And I think the main reason was because there are other people using that culvert, not just one person. So in your case, I think that might be a good way to maybe approach that. So any work you all do, keep the receipts and make sure you take pictures. I know they're doing assessments, and I don't know, Alan, you might address that when you come up, and everything. So there is a chance that they may. I guess that's what I'm saying. So don't give up. Okay. That's what they tell you to do, is to keep, kind of keep after it, if you will, and everything. And as far as the deal, go ahead.
Just mention, if you haven't called and started a claim with FEMA, I think that would be the first step, is to start a claim, even if you haven't for your road. If you didn't have damage at your home, I would start a claim about the road as well.
Okay. And as far as the DOT roads, is there anything, Bryant, on that? I mean, I would think if it's local traffic only, that's not local traffic. So, yeah, so I think, maybe we could look at that maybe with the DOT. So what? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we'll talk to him when he comes up. Okay. So, okay. That's all I had. But I did want to thank the DOT for all their work that they've done. They have really gotten things opened up as best they could. I think the Apple Festival that was this weekend was a very big success. We were kind of holding our breath on that. I think the Pisgah National Forest has opened back up. We were wondering about that, and they've opened back up. And so, Karina, you can talk to that when you come up. So the next order of business will be our administrative agency reports and presentations. And this will be a tropical storm Helene recovery update. So the first person I have is to talk along that lines would be the Sheriff's Office Captain Kevin Burris. So Kevin, if you could let us know kind of what, I know the sheriff couldn't be here. He had a court, something he had to do in court, so, and it was late in the day, so go ahead.
First of all, as has been mentioned, for the past month, we've seen a lot of each other's faces. And it wasn't a sheriff's office event, but that's kind of where everybody was out of. So we appreciated that support and teamwork, and getting to know each other under these circumstances is not a good thing. But, Haven was, I guess, our best person because she fed all of us. So, but we're grateful for that as well. The numbers that I have here is we had 1,255 wellness checks. Those were all completed and all found to be okay. Wasn't all just the sheriff's office, fire departments. Other first responders were helping out on that, so everything turned out good there. The number of deaths remain at 5. I believe that was 3 flood-related deaths and 2 health-related deaths. We have no one missing or unaccounted for. The curfew remains from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. The sheriff hasn't said yet as to when that might be relaxed or ended, however, so that's still to be determined. I received a phone call last week from the Western Region Department of Adult Correction, and they are looking to send inmate work crews into the areas in the West to help some cleanup, things like that. They haven't, that's just the initial report, which was initiated by them. So I don't know any specifics other than that. So we're waiting to hear back and see what that entails. Okay. Any questions?
I told the sheriff this morning I really appreciate him allowing us to use the facility during this emergency.
Absolutely.
He had more space, I guess, than they had at the Emergency Operations Center. So it was great to have that space and be able to communicate directly with your office, along with their emergency staff and everyone else that was involved. County staff, that gave us kind of a central point to go to.
Sure.
To make sure we could take care of everybody as best we could. We did have internet there for the whole time, pretty much. Maybe just a few minutes out of internet, but other than that, we had communications, which is key during this time.
Absolutely.
And but I just thank y'all for putting up with everybody, because I know probably some of your staff was probably, or some of the sheriff's deputies and everything. They probably had to work around us, and I know that's probably out of the norm, and I really appreciate them bearing with us during that time.
This disaster was out of the norm, so we could put up with that. So we're grateful. Thank you.
Such good news, such good news, really, in the light of everything we've seen in Haywood County and in the region. But such good news that we have no missing persons, that we responded and checked on so many people, and I was able to see kind of how that procedure was working, and it's always good and a relief. You hold your breath a little bit when they're out on a call checking on somebody's wellness and well-being, and come back and say they're all good and check it off. So I really do appreciate that. We have much to be grateful for. We have a long road ahead of us as far as bringing the community back to where it was, but that certainly is good news.
And, a lot of the missing persons reports came because we had no communication. That something that as well planned as the county was for this, communications was something, that we couldn't control county-wide. So when the lines come back, that's when you get a lot more of checks going on, but you're able to locate people too. So it worked out favorably for the whole county.
I'd just like to piggyback on what everyone else has said, Kevin, if you pass on to the people. I've got friends in other counties and talked to other counties, and our county had just a tremendous response as far as trying to find these people who were unaccounted for. And all these wellness checks, I was out personally when there was no telephone, there was no power. the volunteer fire departments. My volunteer fire chief came to check on somebody that I was out checking on. And somebody from South Carolina got a hold. They had a Starlink system, and somehow or another had messaged them to check on this person. And, you know, so our county, compared to some other counties, they were precise, they were on top of it, and gave clear answers. You know, as to what our response to this storm was, and how many people was missing, and how many deaths were reported. And thankfully, because of the early warning systems that we had put in place because of Fred, and the National Weather Service did a bang-up job. I mean, they had that thing predicted days in advance, and, you know, people heeded the warning and got their stuff to high ground. And so a combination of things here in Haywood County really worked in our favor. And we'd learned hard lessons from Fred, and people took that to heart, and it really helped
Make us stronger going forward.
That's correct, yeah.
Anybody else?
No, just to piggyback off what the other two commissioners have said, we appreciate the Sheriff's Department and allowing all our staff and folks to come up there. And I've said this many times before. I think I've told all the elected officials that's come into the county to offer help that I think Haywood County set the bar for all these other counties around us, because we were very prepared. I think that shows with the work that was done, no more than the 5 deaths that we had, and just proud of all of our folks from emergency management to Sheriff's Department, all of our staff, actually. I mean, everybody had a part in doing what they could. If it was down to Haven bringing us food, you know, that was important. So everybody pulled together and done great. It was good to see. But again, I think Haywood County set the bar.
Okay. Well, thank you, Captain.
Thank you, sir.
We appreciate you coming out tonight, too.
Yes, sir.
Pinch hit. Okay, next up will be Emergency Services Director Travis Donaldson. And I do want to say that the sheriff's, law enforcement, and emergency management worked hand in hand during this emergency. And we definitely had a great emergency services. We only lost really 3 people to the storm, I guess, during that night. That could be, you know, that they probably shouldn't have been, or unfortunately they were where they shouldn't have been. So, but I really appreciate your staff, Travis, and how we got along with the sheriff's office, and we all worked, like I said, we worked hand in hand to make sure things got done. And I had read something where they said, it wasn't that bad in Haywood County like it was the other counties, and I saw, and I've said this several times, I saw this report on WLOS that said that there was 314,000 gallons per second in the French Broad River, and in the Pigeon River there was 500,000 gallons per second. So we had almost twice the water everybody else did. What set us apart was you guys were ready, law enforcement was ready, and we basically implemented the plans that we had. And people don't realize what those plans probably did to keep everyone safe. I'm sure Fred was on a lot of the minds in that end of the county, but not in every other end. So, but people paid attention, and our emergency, and the reason they paid attention was because you guys got the word out. You got started a week before this got here, just planning to make sure. And then when it got here, it was pretty depressing to listen to the weather service, but you guys had those linked in. We were getting data from them, so we knew how much flooding there would be and where it pretty much would occur based on these reports that you guys got set up, and everything just worked seamlessly. So Haywood County should be proud, and as Brandon said, we did set the bar. And every elected official, national and state official elected official that came through, we let them know that. So thank you, Travis, for all that. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Commissioners. Appreciate that. You know, our staff, Sheriff's Office staff, county staff, volunteer firemen, all our law enforcement agencies, Public Works, DOT, linemen, you know, everybody really stepped up, and we wouldn't be where we are today without the people that have been putting in the work for the past few weeks. That goes out to to the volunteers that are helping deliver supplies and all the faith-based partners that are helping distribute. Everybody's came together as a county, and neighbors taking care of neighbors, and that's what's got us where we are today. Spoke about preparedness. You know, that's one of our big things is, you know, reminding people to be prepared and be able to take care of yourself for a couple of days. This is a prime example of why you need to do that. Storm of this magnitude knocked everybody on their backsides for, you know, almost 96 hours. So being prepared and remembering that going forward is a good message for everybody, because you never know what could happen. Could be a snowstorm, could be a tornado, could be a flood, but that's a good message to remind people of. A little bit of a recap of what we've done so far, or what's going on in Haywood County. Last time I was here, I told you there were 168 highly technical rescues that occurred during the flash flooding event. I've got an updated number of 490 total rescues. It's 490. That's in addition to the 168 I gave you. Those were, you know, firemen, law enforcement partners wading into water to help people out of their homes. Currently, we have 18 power outages that remain. That's down from the peak of over 13,000 on September 30th. So far, the flood helpline, the call center, 356-2020, has fielded over 1,000 calls for assistance and resource guidance. Captain Burris spoke of the 5 deaths. 3 of those were flood water related and actual flood fatalities, and 2 other were health related issues that were compounded by the disaster that we were in. Current damage assessments, we have 550 plus flood affected properties. Those are not including, rephrase that again, emphasize, those are not including Canton numbers or landslide affected properties. Those are only flood affected that actually received flood damage. 42 structures totally destroyed. That figure is still in process, but that's where it's at right now. There are 11 structures off foundations, and currently we're probably looking at over 300 bridges, culverts, or roads that are damaged in need of some sort of repair. We did push out a self-reporting tool to the public to be able to report those damages if we're not aware of them. We're tracking them so we have good situational awareness. That way we can push for potential funding or relief for those homeowners that are experiencing these damages. Currently in the shelter, there's still 24 people being sheltered. Those are medically fragile and cold affected folks that are unable to currently heat their homes, and with the colder weather have moved into shelter. The FEMA DRC is still open at the Regional High Tech Center. It's open 8 to 7, 7 days a week. No canvassing FEMA teams were out in Clyde today, going door to door, assisting folks and looking for folks to make sure they were getting signed up for FEMA assistance. PICO, post-event canvassing operations, DSS as well as the National Guard and volunteer teams have been canvassing the area, the flood-affected areas, making sure that folks that have needs are getting needs and getting connected to resources that are available here in Haywood County. We did have the 101st Airborne here with us for several weeks. Those assets demobbed today. Currently, we've still got 117 National Guard assets. And again, those are helping PICO, supply distribution, clean up, and whatever we need to task them for the day. In our office, we still have the Texas Department of Emergency Management, IMT overhead staff. Those guys will be with us till Friday, and then we'll be shifting all of that workload back to us. So, again, we wouldn't be where we're at today without everybody's help and support, all county employees, everybody in Haywood County that's helped one another. That's put us where we're at today. So, thank everybody for that. One other thing, again, the flood hotline, 828-356-2020, and then we're pushing folks that need information or resources to readyhaywood.com. It's readyhaywood.com. Links on there for information, resources, any kind of FEMA information. There's redirects on there, kind of a single point for information sharing. So if you're not on there, get on there and look at it, check it out, make sure that you're getting all the help that you can.
Power outages that still remain, do you know? Is that HEMC or Duke or?
There's a couple of those are Duke and a couple of them are HMC. I'd have to look at the map to see exactly. I can get back with you that.
You know if they got the bridges on the state road up Pisgah Creek fixed? Yeah, there's two that's still out as of Friday. They people still walking in and out. Did they get covered in for them or?
I know that they were working on it as of yesterday. Yesterday or Saturday, I rode through there. Not sure if they've got it fixed yet or not.
Well, I'm sure you appreciate the Texas Department of Emergency Management. When I was out there, they were backfilling for you guys and giving you some much-needed rest and very adept at what they were doing. So, way to go, Texas. So, thank you. We certainly thank those partners coming alongside of us to do all that work. I know you were thankful for them.
Yeah, having some extra hands helps us get leaps and bounds ahead and supporting the citizen.
Yeah.
Perhaps those that are out of power, do y'all have a list of those people or anything that we can do anything to get them generators or stuff out there to get them through?
We do have them plotted on the map, and to my knowledge, they've got the resources that they need and have been checked on.
We've got a bunch of extra generators if anybody needs them with a power outage and stuff.
Yep, there's plenty of supplies for anybody that needs them. I'll hit on that. We've still got our pod sites going. Obviously, the outpouring of donations and love that everybody's given Haywood County and the region has been overwhelming. It's a lot to manage. My message to folks is, this support's going to be needed for months and maybe even years to come. So folks need to remember and not forget those that are in need in the time to come and continue to push those. And maybe if you're going to send something this week, maybe hold it for a couple weeks and it'll still be needed and we'll still put it to use. But sometimes managing that much supplies at one time can be a bit overwhelming for staff.
Okay. Travis, if someone wants to make donations, where do they go to now? Because I know some places aren't taking them. Would you recommend?
Monetary donations were directed to the United Way of Haywood.
Okay. What about supply donations? I mean, if somebody shows up with some.
Most are still full.
Right.
I know Woodland Baptist was still full. Again, contact the call center, 828-356-2020. And if there's a need somewhere, we can get it pushed out and redirected.
Okay. So we really don't have a place where we're telling them to go right now, do we?
Woodland was our receiving center, but they're pretty well packed full. That's a problem region-wide. The state's working on a warehousing concept to warehouse some stuff a little farther east and be able to store it and then push it up as we need it and we request it. So the state's trying to help out with that because there is still so much coming in and there's nowhere to store it all.
Right, yeah. And we appreciate it. I mean, it's like you said, it'll be needed as time goes on, but we're just kind of full right now. It's kind of amazing to see that. Those buildings are really big and they're really full and everything, so. So the readyhaywood.com, was that it?
readyhaywood.com.
Okay, so we've got that in the call center. What differentiates those, do you think?
The call center is available for folks that might not be tech savvy or have internet access. So they've got that line to be able to access information and get information and connected with the resources to where the website's more user, self-serving, and folks are able to navigate through that.
Okay. Okay, has anybody got anything?
Phone number, is somebody answering it? It's an actual, one of us is on the other end. And what are the hours of that call center? Do you know?
Call center is going 8 to 5. Let me go back so I don't tell you wrong. Sorry, I've got way too many notes. Again, way too many notes. 8 to 5 daily.
Okay. Anybody else got anything? Okay, thanks, Travis. Appreciate you.
Yep.
Appreciate you a
Thank
bunch.
you.
Okay, our next person, or the next organization will be our TDA Director, Karina. And Karina, say your last name when you get up there, because I'm not going to butcher it.
It's Ruffier.
Ruffier.
Thank you, Jennifer. That was very well done.
Yeah. I want to have you do it next time, Jennifer.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for inviting me to come speak with you. I have so much I want to say that builds on so many things that have said, but I'll start with Brandon. You said Haywood County set the bar. Since the storm, I've had the opportunity to be on statewide TDA director calls, so with all counties within North Carolina. And some of them are just praying they're going to open by Thanksgiving. And here we are talking about the amazing steps Haywood County has made towards recovery and rebuilding already. And I feel like tourism is here. We were just on the peripheral. We did what we could to support your public information folks and push information out during the storm. I can't even speak to everything that I had the opportunity to watch. It's incredible what Travis and Bill Wilkie and everybody have pulled together. But here we get to help leverage the tourism economy to help us rebuild. And thankfully, we are so far ahead of some of our neighboring counties. So with that, I'll share a few things that we've done. We've done as much as we can to educate our potential visitors and our local residents on how to encourage mindful visitation. And this speaks to some of our neighbors who talked about buses traveling by their homes. That's not what we're encouraging. We have maps that show roads that are open, roads that are closed, where you can go, what you should do, and also what you shouldn't do, as much as some of our local businesses haven't wanted to hear that. This is about being a good neighbor to all. Incredible close collaboration with county staff, with emergency management, with DOT, with our public land partners. Kevin, you mentioned Pisgah National Forest was able to open this weekend. By collaborating, we quickly produced some signs that said, hey, if you're out here, be safe. In part to help support our search and rescue teams who are still stretched pretty thin. We have a website that we built, visit haywood.com/alerts. We're literally updating it every single day with information that's great, again, from a visitor perspective, but it's also good for locals to know what businesses are open, what are closed, again, some safe routes on how to get here from our drive markets, all of the above. We've worked with Alan and Shondelay through FEMA to personally call every single hotel in Haywood County and encourage them to sign up for the FEMA voucher program for our displaced residents. And I know we've gotten at least 5 to sign up, so hopefully we're placing some of our residents that lost their homes in a safe, warm place instead of having to stay outside. When we worked with Visit NC, they launched an exclusive Western North Carolina mountains travel campaign for those counties that are able to safely open and welcome visitors, so we're happy to be a part of that. Looking ahead, this is where I feel like tourism really can help. In collaboration with County Economic Development and the Chamber, we launched a small business survey. And that survey is about finding out what do our small businesses need so we can build a solid recovery path when we're ready. So far, we've gotten 425 responses to that survey. It's open through October 30th. If you need the URL, anybody on my team can share it, or Dylan Huffman has it and Hannah White has it. So a whole bunch of us have that link. We'd love to get as many small businesses as possible to fill it out. Just today, we launched a brand new holiday shopping campaign called The Gift of Haywood. We launched it internally to business partners. It will launch to visitors and residents on November 13th, which is also World Kindness Day. It seemed quite fitting for Haywood County. It's a collaborative effort in partnership with the Haywood County Chamber, the Canton Merchants Partnership, the Downtown Waynesville Commission, and the Maggie Valley Chamber of Commerce, and it will encourage residents and visitors to shop, dine local, or buy online if you're from afar. And with that, we're creating a beautiful Haywood Strong Christmas ornament. It will be exclusive, and we'll sell that ornament, and 100% of the proceeds will go directly to small business recovery efforts, which leads me to my last thing. The TDA, in partnership with the Haywood County Chamber and the Haywood Advancement Foundation, we're working together to develop a Haywood-specific small business recovery program where we'll be able to work directly with Haywood businesses and ensure that we don't have empty storefronts and that we're here for years to come. So more details to come on that. I don't have details yet, but it's one of many things that we're working on. And I'll just say personally, I know I'm new. I'm not a multi-generation local like I believe all 5 of you are. I'm just so proud of what my team has been able to do, of being part of this community, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. This is the best community. So thank you.
Okay. Anybody got any questions for Corinne?
Good job, though, for really getting in there and, it's a really, just quite frankly, as a small business owner and people, and somebody that participates, Brandon is too, in that community, and Kevin, it's, we took it, we had people that looked at it, I guess, in a dark light, is just the best way to say it. And to take what we were faced with and turn it into, positive things like communicating that we are open and a Christmas ornament. I just really appreciate the hustle, and I appreciate the leadership. So we come back stronger every time. We do. Thanks.
I just want to say, Corinne, I appreciate, I know you had to put up with a lot of folks who were, when I think back of what, every interstate into our county was closed. Into Western North Carolina was closed at one time. And so when we made decisions early on, it was to keep our people safe. And some of the folks that seemed to give us the hardest time were probably not even without power, or without power a few hours at the most. And they, pretty much their lives were okay. But we have people that lost everything, a lot of people that lost everything. And it was unfortunate that folks want to give those of us a hard time that are trying to keep everybody else safe, because in the days after that, that was our main goal, and that was our only goal, really, was to make sure everybody was safe, that we could get the power back on, that we had a place for them to go to at the shelter if they had to. And, the night of the storm, it was just, news kept getting worse and worse. And I remember at one time, the emergency operation office was on an island, literally, and everything. So I think these businesses and these Airbnb owners who were safe need to thank the emergency management who were doing their job then, and were doing their job whenever they wanted us to open back up, because where they drove around in their little universe was okay, but most people's universe in this county was not okay. Most people live in the rural areas, and the rural areas was where you couldn't get to. They didn't have power for a week or more. That was real common. My brother lives at the county line. He didn't have power for over a week. It came on for a day, and then it went off for a few more days, and it's been a yo-yo. So, if you were safe, you need to thank the Lord that you were safe and everything. But I know the public officials here and you, we're just trying to keep people safe. And if, you might have lost a little bit of business, maybe a little bit, but a lot of people lost everything they had. And the only thing they had was I had 3 people staying with me. 2 of them lost their homes. One lady she had 2 changes of clothes, and that's all she took to Ohio when she finally got with her brother and got enough gas to where she could get up there. She had to stay with us till she just got enough fuel to fill up her car and everything. So, and she went up there, and then of course we got a couple other, my in-laws are staying with us now because they lost everything. They had a few items that were maybe up high, and that's it. Everything else is lost. So, but some people lost everything, and I wish people would understand that were giving us a hard time saying everything was normal, because it's not normal for a lot of people. But I appreciate you hanging in there, and we opened up as fast as we could, as much as we could, because we didn't want people in the national forest or in the parks getting lost because we couldn't go get them. They would be stuck, if you will. So, we were focusing on the folks that had already had damage, and that's what we were doing. So that's why we tried to keep these places, shut down as much as we could. And I've seen pictures of Blue Ridge Parkway. A lot of it's gone, I mean, it's like Interstate 40. When that water started coming, it basically washed out places in the road, and there was debris and trees. They were up high where all the winds were. And if you're not from the mountains, when you go up high, you have a lot of winds that you don't have down low. That's why most mountain people live down low. They don't live on the side of the mountain or on top of the mountain, because that's where the winds are and that's where the dangerous areas are. So we were just trying to keep everybody safe and make sure that when they did come here, they would have a positive experience. And hopefully they did this weekend, because, the Apple Festival, I think, went real well. And I was all for that opening. I missed the Church Street Fair, Arts and Crafts Fair, because we weren't ready yet. We may not have been ready this weekend, but I think we were, because it seemed to go off pretty well. And I'm glad people got out and that it was successful. I even heard people from Asheville, I think, came. It gave them something to do to get out of that area for a little bit, that damage and, everything. So, but I just wanted to, I had to say that, because I know you've been, we've been, and you've been, people are back, like we got to, you're against small businesses. No, we're not. We want your business to succeed. We just want you to be able to operate whenever, things get back to normal, that we can continue on, and as much as we can. So, anyway, had to throw that out there. But does anybody else want to say anything?
Just to add to what y'all are saying, I'd like to thank Karina and her folks working hard during this time. I know you're just doing some things that you normally don't do. I know, making signs in a quick way to get up to our National Forest folks. So just a special thanks to you and what you did during this time as well.
We're all better together.
Yeah, that's right. And we did work together. Okay. Thanks, Karina. Okay, next will be our FEMA representative, Alan Wren. And Alan, just want to say FEMA's here. They've been here.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me on this meeting. As of about 2 p.m. Today, over 7,000 people had registered for assistance in the county, which is a good sign. We still have the Disaster Recovery Center at 112 Industrial Park Drive at the Regional Tech Center. It's open Sunday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Some residents may have got a letter explaining their FEMA decision. They can take their letter to the DRC to speak to someone from individual assistance to get clarification, say if they only got a certain amount for clean and sanitize assistance, then maybe they can work on their application to get that serious needs assistance. The DSA crew is kind of working worked in Canton, Clyde, and I think they're going east to west. Been working with Sean DeLay. And the DSA teams, disaster survivor assistant teams, are really there to register people and check any inquiries on their case. If they want to submit documentation, they can do that online at disasterassistance.gov. They can also go to the Disaster Recovery Center. Say if a constituent doesn't have a computer there, they could submit their documentation there and speak with someone from individual assistance, but also the state as well. So,
Okay, Alan, tell us what DRC and DSA are.
so Disaster Recovery Center is
Okay.
the standard place where they have individual assistance people, but also small business administration folks that are there sitting in person working with applicants. They go through the details. It's kind of like a little more interactive than you would say you may get over the phone. It gives you, the people, I would say, a little more confident speaking to someone in person rather over the phone. The DSA crew are the people that actually register people that wear a lot more FEMA gear than I do. They go door to door, and we kind of work, Sean DeLay works with Travis on getting those priority areas. They want to actually physical register people, because we know some people in the county, because of their private road and bridges, can't get out, or they're more comfortable seeing someone in person.
So they can go online, and that's probably and fill out their application.
Right, they can fill out their application online. They can also do it in person with the DSA crew. We try to hit
Okay.
all the affected areas from the
So the
PDA from the county.
So if a DSA crew shows up, you can actually sit there and fill out an application with them at your home.
Exactly.
If they're,
Right, exactly. And then
that's
we
why
see
y'all
that in
are
this
doing it.
county, more people are going to be more comfortable with that
Exactly.
than waiting on the phone line.
And then they can come to the
Disaster
high-tech
Recovery Center, yes.
Yeah.
Speak with someone for individual assistance or SBA, explain their case. They might get a letter that says, you got this amount of money, why did you get that? And the individual assistance people can explain that to them. Sometimes too, with their letters, they may get temporarily rejected, the denial letter. It's just that they need more information. They might need to scan their ID, they might need to file some insurance claims, insurance documentation. A lot of the times it's just either spelling errors or documentation things that we're seeing.
Now, when you say insurance, so let's say if you didn't have flood insurance,
Right.
generally your homeowners will not cover damage, correct? Or should you?
It's
go
depending
ahead?
on the policy. And
Okay.
if that policy doesn't cover, we'll be there to help the people out.
Okay.
But they do you might have an insurance policy that doesn't cover some areas. It's all dependent on your specific insurance policy. And that documentation could be submitted at the Disaster Recovery Center. And like I
Okay.
said, it's easier to explain that to someone in person rather than a phone call.
Right. And so if they're coming to the DRC at the
Right.
high-tech center, they need to bring possibly their insurance policy.
Right.
And what else would they need to?
The address, identification,
Okay.
things like that.
Okay.
The address where they live, stuff like that, banking information.
Okay, that's true, because you guys do make direct deposits,
Right,
so
right,
they
right.
need to have
Right,
your
yes, sir.
account, so they
Yes,
can do
sir.
that. Okay. So those are some of the things they need to
Right, yes,
bring.
sir.
Okay. Okay, is anybody?
I had a constituent reach out to me this morning when I messaged Alan to make sure they were there and open, and she has no internet access.
Right.
And she said she went up to the DRC, and she called me back and said they were very helpful, very easy, made her feel comfortable.
Right.
So I'd like to encourage anybody that's had any damage,
Right.
from the flood, to reach out to you guys, or even go up and visit if you're not comfortable doing it online, or if you don't have no internet access, or you don't like talking on the phone.
Right, exactly.
She told me it was a good experience, so thought I'd pass that on.
And then, so the lady that spoke about the private road. and-
Right, I'm gonna get with her
Oh,
after
yeah,
we discuss
okay.
that.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
So you hang on back there, okay? Okay.
Yeah, don't let him leave until you get him. So.
Right.
And Alan, anytime I've asked for information, you get it to me right away, and I really appreciate that. And I forward it to whatever that is, because the FEMA book is probably,
Right.
like a big Bible or something.
Yes, sir.
I guess. So there's a lot of pages in there, and you can go right to it and get us
Right.
exactly what we need.
Right. And I do want to compliment Karina and the Maggie Valley Chamber of Commerce. They've been very helpful about getting the transitional hotel vouchers out. We want to have the hotel availability here, but also it's a great opportunity to support the Maggie Valley economy as well. So people can
Exactly.
stay nearby. I'm also working with some Jackson County hotels to see if they can open up some stuff for us. That way your constituents don't have to drive so far.
Alan, speaking of the transitional housing, how does that work? If somebody needs the housing,
Yeah,
do
what
they
they-
still do the same thing, same
Yeah,
process?
they register to the system. If they do need that, they'll get an automatic phone call, and then have the link provided to the local officials. They should have the DRC about the available hotels in the area. And some more hotels should be added on. All they have to do is enter their registration number. And if they're more comfortable with that, they can specifically ask that at the DRC. The DRC people should be able to provide them the list as well. All they need is that registration number to enter in the system.
I had another constituent called first thing this morning and had to borrow his neighbor's phone. He still don't have no phone service or internet, so he was asking. So I'll be sure to get him that information.
So Karina, if they could reach out to you and you could tell them about the hotels and everything that, so you have a list, okay. Okay. Okay.
Right. Yep. Right.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay. But I mean, I guess you could use more hotels and motels.
Right. Yeah.
signing up.
Any ones that want to get a program, that's always helpful to us, especially more helpful to community.
Okay. And so you're giving per night vouchers? Is that how that works?
I'm pretty sure that's programs work. I can get more information on it
Okay.
specifically.
Okay, that's true. It's complicated. Okay. Does anybody else have anything for Alan? Okay. All right, thanks, Alan. We appreciate all you're
Thank you.
doing.
One thing, Alan, how long do you suspect that you'll be here in Haywood County? Do you have a time frame?
Me personally, or just like the recovery
You or
operation?
FEMA, the DRC, do you have a time frame on?
The DRC would be negotiated between the EM office and the state. That'll be that thing. Me personally, I could be here up to, me personally, not speaking as FEMA-wide, I could be up here to 90 days.
Okay,
So,
just curious, thank you.
thanks, sir.
Okay, thanks, Alan.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Okay. I also want to, one thing I kind of wish I had told you, Brian, it's my fault, is to have Ross McGregor here, maybe to give an update on that, but that's okay. But I do want to give a shout out to all the churches. Orchard Church, I think they were there when the sun came out the day of the storm, and they came to the emergency office there and basically sat down and said, what can we do? And they had a pastor that had just joined their staff not weeks before, and he was experienced in this type disaster type thing. And so he basically, we used his expertise, and they set up the church's, they just said, what can we do? And I tell you, having the churches handle the donations has really worked out very well. And so Orchard Church basically got the churches organized, if you will, and then they asked Woodland Baptist Church, whose church is right at the foot of the hill from the fairgrounds, to help out. And I go to church there, but that's not the reason they got them. But anyway, the church has stepped up, and I know they're volunteers that came out. We really appreciate all the volunteers that came out, but especially those churches that really participated and did what the Lord said you should be doing, and they did that. And I just want to thank them for doing that, and we appreciate it, because having the donations, that went smoother and got to more people, because government can't do everything, and the churches basically stepped in to fill that role, and they just did a great job. And I might add too, there will be a church service at Lake Junaluska Stewart Auditorium Wednesday night at 6:30 for anyone that wants to attend. So the churches are doing that on Wednesday night at Lake Junaluska's Stewart Auditorium. So, okay.
Okay, just one more thing. I should have mentioned this while Alan was here, but if there is any churches that are listening, they sent us an email today. I assume everybody got it. It's for damaged houses of worship. And so if anybody has a church that was damaged, be sure to get, I would say it'd be best to get up with the DRC and get your name on the list. And again, to add to what Kevin said, those churches were great. They were the first on the scene, but I know churches all across the county, even though they wasn't part of what we were doing here, they had supplies that were set up and helping in their own communities. Our fire departments, our churches, schools. I mean, you could keep going on and on. Again, everybody just pulling together.
Yeah. The night of the flood, the fire departments were boots on the ground, and so were some other emergency folks. And that helped us get the information in so we'd know where to send rescue teams to and everything. So it was a very remarkable effort, I just have to say. Okay, so I'm going to move to discussion adjustment of the agenda. And I need to modify the agenda under appointments because we received word today that Ms. Mode has opted to decline appointment to the Smoky Mountain Event Center as her priorities and commitments have changed since the time that she initially applied. So with that, I will accept a motion to remove item 1 under appointments as request appointment of Sheila Mills Mode to the Smoky Mountain Event Center Board for filling an unexpired term through March 7th, 2025 from the appointments section of the agenda. Okay.
I make a motion, we adjust the agenda to remove the appointment section, that item.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Is that good, Amy? Okay. Amy keeps us straight. Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. We have 4 items on the consent agenda. Does anyone have any questions about those 4 items? Okay. If not, I'll entertain a motion. We approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and the only item we have on the regular agenda is to request approval to accept a bid from Rise Construction in the amount of $158,596 to make structural repairs and replace the roof on the Waynesville branch of the Haywood County Library, and approval for the county manager to sign all related contract documents. We have our facilities director, Tim Sisk, here. And Tim, I appreciate all you did because I saw you running around everywhere for the last month.
You know,
So,
we run around a little bit.
yeah. So
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening,
Thank you and your
Commissioners.
staff. Yeah.
This agenda item is for the replacement of the roof of the Waynesville Library. Buried in that roof structure is an integrated gutter system that has obviously been a problem for years, and it has developed some rot on the ends of the truss tails. So in the scope of work, it was not only just a roof replacement, but the removal of the integrated gutter system, the replacement of the gutter system, new fascia, new soffit. If you've been around the building, you could see that it's in dire need of some, not only structural, but cosmetic work and a new roof. So that's what this is. We invited 3 local commercial level builders. 2 responded. Rise and Clark and Leatherwood responded.
Okay.
I did review those bids. Thank you for getting the bids. There was drastic difference in the bids, and so I think you went well here.
Yep.
So, thank you.
Okay.
You know, even in the midst of an emergency, routine things have to be done. This is something that's been on our radar for some time.
Yeah, I've
It
been
has to
looking
be
at this for a
fixed.
little while, yeah.
I serve on the library trustee board appointed by the county, and I saw an email thread conversation, and if you could hear cheers of excitement via email, I heard it today in that. So some of our librarian professionals are sitting in the back, and I think they're looking forward to getting that repair started.
I don't hear a lot of cheers.
You don't
I
think?
hear other things.
I think they're happy that it's happening. I mean, maybe I misinterpreted that, but I think that it's long overdue.
No,
and
they seem to be pleased with the direction.
yeah, they're
we're going with
excited to get it. Maybe a little inconvenient in the moment, but it'll be good to get it taken care of.
It needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion. We approve that. If anyone has any other questions.
So moved?
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous.
Thank you.
Tim, do we have many roof leaks during all this? I was just curious, but
During this event, I think I counted 2 very small ones.
really?
Yeah, honestly,
Well,
Haywood
hats
County.
off to you.
Truly, Haywood County facilities fared very well through all of this. We, as quickly as we could, we deployed our own internal staff and did damage assessments for our own facilities to ensure that we could open to the public when the manager was ready. And, you know, outside of just a couple of very small items, it was We're very lucky.
Okay, very good. In the library, did you get the chance to check it out? Because you said the gutter system wasn't too good there.
The internal gutter system, that integrated gutter system that was built, you know, whenever the facility was built.
45 years ago.
Yeah, it's been full of water. It's what's causing our problems. So this contract will remove that altogether. So we'll ultimately lose 12 to 14 inches of roof line all the way around the building to get rid of that thing, get it out of there.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have anything else tonight?
I just want to say one thing. I appreciate our chairman and our vice chair being at the EOC continuously. I know they're probably pretty self-assuming, but they have really stepped up for our board, been there and had a presence for all of our staff leaders here. And some of us, you know, we had our own emergencies and couldn't get there. So when I did show up there, I found out that our vice chair and chair had been up there basically perpetually. And you know, I appreciate that, guys, for your being there for our county and when some of us couldn't be there. So appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, appreciate the support everybody gave us. Yeah.
I mean, we understood that, especially you two got flooded yourself and had other emergencies to take care of. And I know Commissioner Ramey, he was pretty much worked to death up at the fairgrounds. So he handled everything up there. So I think it was a team effort as well. So thank you for saying that.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. I'll entertain a motion. We adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Okay. All in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. We're adjourned and everybody be safe.